सब लिंक हो जाता है ये. This is only 600 years का प्रॉब्लम है जो
Yes. For the future.
हाँ no नहीं what everything is it can't be just isolation everything has to be.
ये तो पहले से बोल रहे हैं ना.
Otherwise the easiest Indology is the incremental 500 BC बुद्धा कुछ बात नहीं करना incremental कर लो 1700 1500 और ये हो गया बस खत्म हो गया.
644 पे चले गए.
If you prove Indus Valley as a Vedic then my problem is solved but that will never end because lot of inconsistencies would be there. So I know there is a huge responsibility and as well as hard work is required to prove.
No, but because so many scholars have already done the work on it, I think we could at least put a statement of resolution across that this is an important issue that needs to be resolved about the date of Buddha. If we have to really recalibrate, no, I would not use the word calibrate, but we have to structure our chronology as per our established shastras.
Because our own tradition is saying from Parikshit Janma and Kurukshetra war to Mahapadmananda 1500 years. If it is 3300, can't be 1500 years if 350 is the Nanda day. It is more than 2700 years or 2800 years. So this is the chronological error.
Good.
So I think we have
any more topic left for discussion for this?
I have a point suggested by Mr. Lal. I think he may have sent you also a mail. He published a paper recently, and there he said that Dr. B.B. Lal's work on number of generations of the dynasties, that has to be reconciled if we adopt an advanced date. So on that perhaps some light can be thrown by us.
So if you see our book Indraprastha Revisited, we had done this dating. Dr. Shashi Tiwari ji I had submitted some papers to her which we found from Nagdwara temple and articles by जो हमारे वो बहुत फेमस वो थे ना, क्या नाम, आई एम सॉरी, जिनके नाम से आर्य समाज चलता है, दयानंद सरस्वती. तो उन्होंने he has listed and even I think a lot of foreigners have done work on the dynasties, the Vedic things. So if we go by that chronology that has been given of the kings, it says, I'm just summing up that from the time of Yudhishthir till the time of Yashpal, which is, Yashpal is like that Prithviraj Chauhan wala, Yashpal wala, he came from there, is about 4,135 years approximately, and more than 24 rulers ruled, and he has given the age, average age of each is around 38 to 39. So this dynasties wala problem has been already tackled by Dayanand Saraswati. And also in that book, if you see, Shashi Tiwari has written, but there's a lot of work has happened in that. So from where we are getting the dates, we have the data also has to be, we have to relook at that, yes.
This is commendable work because 25 years back, hardly any of this was there was no direction, and we're all groping the dark, and commendable. A lot of water has flowed down the Yamuna, especially in Delhi. And this is...
it just needs to be qualified.
No, whether it's cleaned it or not is a different question. We'll come to that later. Partly, a lot of water has flowed in the last 20 years. And none of us even thought that such a get-together and Shastra Artha thinking with a pleasant frame of mind could happen 15, 20 years ago. And it is to... The scholars have to be commended for coming each one here, take the time and then having a very decent discussion. Yes, we differ, but we differ because of the content, the quality, the scholarship, the friendship, and all that is there. And it's a very small gathering that's doing this because that's why it becomes more intense. We need it, and for preparing each point, see the moderation quality has been high. Actually, it's not a praise, but the fact. Because the preparation for this, obviously it's taken a month or two because each of the points have been well thought through And we have a kahavat in Tamil that say, Karachi kudichirukku. That means you have mixed the problem properly and drank it up also well, so it's flowing through your veins. That's a fact. It's obvious. So when we see somebody saying it well, because we have lived this for 25 years, so we also know it, what it is. We've got out books and books on this, like yourself.
You know, it was a little tough job me as a sutradhara as well as an actor also in the
So both. So dual role, it is commendable. So no. You also know you kept your moderation separately. You kept your position also for Indian separately. That was obvious. So that shows a sense of maturity. This comes only with some people who have it. Because otherwise, what takes over is your personal perspective.
So actually we have dinner at 7, so we would like each one to say, you know, apne comments for the day, and we could make a note of it. I think if there is any other topic left, we can spend some time. Otherwise, each one, इतने बड़े-बड़े, I mean, तिवारी जी.
One issue also, this Dwarka submergence also.
जी.
That Varkal crater and that is the one issue, as well as one tablet found in Sumer. The tablet is actually referring to one particular astronomical somebody has done, and they say it is a 3122 BC is exactness. I don't know how that astronomy. Someone can, if that K by some tablet is there, how he has decoded that astronomy, if somebody can work on that one. I have only get one date. The way they have done some 29 June 3122 BC, some kind of a date is
3123.
because that
3123.
gives that comet that fell.
But the problem is the comet which he is describing in that one, the Sumerian tablet, which you are talking about. Because I looked at it a few years ago. That particular thing, there is another paper, peer-reviewed and published paper, which is saying that that particular thing fell in the Alps. It fell in the Alps. And
No,
it is,
that is, they have miscalculated it. That we need to work on.
there is somebody who says that that fell in the Alps, and that crater was hidden for various reasons. There is a particular, there is a theory they have put on. Okay. Berkeley crater, the problem is that Abbott et al. Paper, the issue is that that is dated conservatively to 2807 BC. Now
Again,
that,
carbon dating only.
for various reasons again. But the thing is, I had a look at the, somebody who was looking at the chevrons. So it is a Shoemaker-Levy type of impact, basically. And it is a fragment of a comet, which has fallen near Madagascar, in the ocean. And the thing is, from there, there is a straight line upwards, which it will create a mega tsunami actually, which is sort of described in the text. Now, I looked at it and I asked a couple of people who I knew what they thought about it. And they said, well, max to max it will go to maybe 3050, 3100 BC at the most. Okay. Going beyond that is really stretching it too far, because 2807 BC is what these people have calculated. Now, there is only one caveat to it, and the caveat to that is that the authors have tried to do it for Noah's flood. That is the only point about it.
There are several scientific graphs and material behind that comet hit, and also of Berkeley. Berkeley is doing something on the GISP2 graph, and several I have. The research paper also is going to come, is going to be given by Joachim. And if I am given a chance tomorrow, I will show all that. I want to know the agenda for tomorrow.
अभी कर लो ना, why don't you finish it today?
Yes.
अभी कर लो, it's all fresh.
Another issue.
That tablet, I will look at it anyway.
I think great archaeologists are here.
Okay.
Even such an ancient carbon dating, plus minus 300, 400 years is possible. So that can't be so accurate first. So they generally do some pessimistic, they don't want to give some ancient one.
I think in this case, I don't know whether it is just a question of biblical.
Maybe that is always there. In the last 300, 400 years, the European academia, they are dominating the, especially social sciences. they had in their minds that 4000 BC is the creation, 3000 BC is our civilization exists only 3000. Anybody has claimed more than 3000 BC, they attack him as a fool or as a mythology. Why they rejected Greeks given and think Plato is writing 9000 years before his lifetime, Atlantis submerged mythology because it contradicts with the Bible. They can't say Bible is incorrect. This is the only way. Otherwise, they are asking evidence. That's why archaeology started. But absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. If you haven't found, no problem. But it does not mean that you never existed. If you go to your village and dig on, nothing has found. 100 years ago, your village does not exist. Can I conclude like that? So there is this thing also we have today. Archaeology can explain whatever the material evidence found in a particular place. It cannot be the evidence to present that you never existed before. Like we found Sinoli, the chariots, saying that 2000 years before chariots never existed.
25 years ago, 7 years ago, we found it. This is what I was saying. Exactly
And
the
such a
same point.
very great the kind of a engineering what they view. It appears that maybe little bit थोड़ा सा crude रथा पहले है उनके बाद में such a refined रथास बनने लगे हैं, ये भी हो सकता है. तो ये कहना कि उससे पहले नहीं था, ये
Which horses नहीं थे, ये
हाँ,
दूसरा हो गया,
हाँ.
which is also wrong.
This is, and even in our tradition when we said that Mahabharata is 3000, they say you show me the evidence. Then chronological problems also. Finally, we presently our history books talk about prehistory beyond Buddha. I don't know how that means we don't have any history beyond Buddha. Means we don't have a chronology, that's why prehistory for that. This is the problem then without chronology. And finally, it is not only pratyaksha is pramana, means material evidence is pratyaksha. But finally, there is a lot of things. If we can establish this archaeoastronomy, it would be very
because it's be unique to our civilization.
Civilization.
Others don't have much of the except
And-
one or two
Huh.
that
because certain observations can't be back calculated, and like a conjunction of all planets and all of that, this can't be back calculated and such a precisely cannot be, someone cannot mention in there.
But the one precision that they made in Europe, James Usher, 23rd October, 9 a.m. Actually, I asked this question.
No, that those things are because those times, even they have to maintain the respect the biblical traditions, because without that they can't survive. So that's why they wanted to some way to give some scientific. Finally, what happened? Anybody talking about below 3000 BC is a scientific thinker. Who is anybody talking beyond that? He is not a. It's not. Now the same passion has become as a to reject all traditions.
That is why John Playfair was not given his due.
Yes,
That
John
is why
Playfair has
he
not
was
been
not
given,
given
because
his
that
due.
was contradicting the
Because,
that is
yes.
the only reason.
Because whatever he was saying was absolutely correct about Indian astronomy. Whatever he has said, there's a lot of beautiful things he has said, but none of it was. I had to dig out the paper finally. You know.
And one more issue what I want to flag here is especially the archaeological site Indus Valley. There is a almost mostly except this that Indus Valley civilization was referred as Meluha in Sumerian this one. But Persians, those residing neighbor, they never called us Meluha. How they Meluha were. So once I found it, they are actually talking about Arattas. There is a numerous references of Arattas in Sumerian tablet from Enmerkar, Gilgamesh time onwards. That Aratta is actually Afghanistan area, the near Kabul. Actually, even from Aratta, the lapis lazuli was transported from that place.
Correct.
The Meluha was actually somewhere Yemen or somewhere where actually they found certain thing. So this Meluha word, what is not ever used in India, they have used Aratta. And Arattas were our own, this Pakistan, Afghanistan area only was called Aratta. So this also, Meluha is
Our own area.
No, any reason why it was called Aratta?
and this is the reason during that Scythian occupation of these areas, the same they used some particular same Indus those whatever the tablets. Seals have been mounted.
Any reason why it was called
That's why
Aratta?
Bahrain and Sumerian में वो मिलते हैं. But ये जो Meluha है, this also one myth why that Sumerians called us Meluha. No, not a single reference in the even entire
Yeah,
Persian.
agreed. But why Aratta?
I have a different opinion about Aratta. In the hands of Sutra, it is mentioned that there were two sons of Purusha. One was sent towards east the other was sent towards west.
Ayu Amavas.
Ayu and so one of them who went towards west, he first reached to Gandhar. Afterwards he reached to Parshu, that is Persia, and then to Aratta. And what we think that Aratta might be Ararat or somewhere near Iraq and in that area, West Asia. And we have the evidence of these Meluhans who were there. They had their colonies in Babylonia, and they were trading. And thousands of tablets have been found, which record sometimes in the uniform script, sometimes only pictures are depicted. So they record about those Meluhans who were with their interpreters to the kingdom. And that is how we say that probably the migration route was not just from west to east, but it was from east to west. Because in 7th or even in the 3rd millennium BC, Indians they were having their colonies in Sumeria.
Yes.
Aratta reference in Mahabharata is actually same Afghanistan Pakistan के.
I can't say that.
नहीं वो I will show Aratta नाम ते ग्राम तत्र दिवसं वसे पंचनद्यो वहन्त्येषां. So he is actually talking about Punjab area. Is only Aratta that
But
from
it
Afghanistan.
mentions after Parshu. It's in a sequence. Gandhar, then Parshu, and then Aratta.
No, not this one. तो वो दूसरा निकालना पड़ेगा. ये बंद कर दीजिए. तो वर्ड फाइल है जो महाभारत एंड सोसाइटी आर्टिकल है. Not this one. ये भी बंद कर दीजिए. ये तो बलराम has filled in this. Another word file is ना महाभारत एंड सोसाइटी.
Huh?
Not this one. ये नहीं है दूसरा.
जहाँ वहाँ सेम नाम का नाम था कौशलपुरी के 50
There was not
जैसे
that
महाभारत एंड
same
सोसाइटी.
They
You
were
come down below.
both ways stuff.
और नीचे आ जाए. रुक जा. ये संस्कृत श्लोक ये देखिए. बाह्लीकम देशम मद्राश्च उत्सयन वाक्यमब्रवीत् बहिष्कृता हिमवता गंगया च तिरस्कृता सरस्वत्या यमुनया कुरुक्षेत्रेणापि चापि ये पंचानां सिन्धुषष्ठानां नदीनां येऽन्तराश्रिताः. पंचानां सिन्धुषष्ठ उसके अंदर में रहने वालों को तान धर्म बाह्यान श्रुति बाह्लीकानपि वर्धयेत्. पंचनद्यो वहन्त्येता यत्र पीलु वनान्विता शतद्रु विपश तृतीया ऐरावती तथा चंद्रभागा वितस्ता सिंधुषष्ठा महानदी आरट्टा नाम बाह्लिका एतेष्वाग्यो कि नो वसे. ये कर्ण कह रहे हैं शल्य का. शल्य उसका रसारथी बन गया तो वो चिढ़ गया कि इसको क्यों बनाते हैं.
So maybe that the Arattas might
नहीं ये
have
वही
come
है.
back.
नहीं वही कम बाटी
and
देवर रूलिंग ओवर दिस
stayed with
एरिया.
the
वो ये जो टैबलेट्स हैं ना जो सील्स है वो यूज कर रहे थे. वो स्क्रिप्ट इंडिया में कभी नहीं मिला वो, क्योंकि वो यूज संस्कृत को लोगो सिलेबस में लिखा ही नहीं जा सकता. यू नीड अ फोनेटिक स्क्रिप्ट. हाँ जो भी भाषा रहेगी कुछ संस्कृत वर्ड्स और प्राकृत वर्ड्स होंगे उस भाषा में. और ऊपर जाइए तो ये है श्लोक जो आरट्टों के बारे में जो कुछ लिखा है. जस्ट स्क्रॉल आपको बाह्लिका ये एक हौदा बाह्लिका आरट्टा नाम ते देशा बाह्लिकं नाम तद्वतं वसन्ति सिंधु सौवीरा इति प्रायोति कुत्सिता. ये सिंधु सौवीर ये सब आरट्ट हो गए थे क्योंकि वो क्या आरट्ट उसको शासन कर रहे थे. आरट्ट उनके बाद वो आ गया जहाँ से इनको लापिस लादोली मिला करता था. और आरट्ट जो है द्रुह्यु का पुत्र है. द्रुह्यु का पुत्र आरट्ट है. हमारे पुराणों में आरट्ट का पुत्र गांधार है जिसने गांधार जनपद बनाया. तो यही पर्शिया की तरफ माइग्रेट हुए हैं. तो ये जो मेलुहा वर्ड कहाँ से आया उसका हमारे को ना पर्शियंस ने कभी नहीं यूज किया. तो ये और उसका वैसे ज्योग्राफिकली जो रेफरेंसेस हैं वो एक पर्टिकुलर एक है ना बायोडाइवर्सिटी वाला. यमन के पास एक द्वीप है जहाँ पर बहुत ऐसे रेयरेस्ट वो मिलते हैं. वो उस तरह के पेड़ वहाँ से इम्पोर्ट करा करते थे.
Socotra.
हाँ
Vietnam, Socotra.
yeah. द बायोडाइवर्सिटी के ना कुछ ऐसे हैं जो बिल्कुल वहीं और कहीं नहीं मिलते, तो वो जो है वो इम्पोर्ट होता था।
island of where they could go
तो
and
we
work
need
and
to
go
say
out.
that this is the real Arata. अगर ये सही है तो so called जो ईस्टर है, इनाना है, she was actually sister of an Arata king. She became the goddess of
Easter.
Easter.
हाँ, वही आराष्ट्र से आरट है, आरट से ही आराष्ट्री ईस्टर हो गया होगा, या अरिष्टा से आरट बना होगा, ये है अरिष्ट शब्द से आरट होगा या आराष्ट्र से आरट हुआ होगा, ये है आरट इज इन प्राकृत।
We can take out the etymology.
So then finally Scythian migration is led to Mitra, because Mitra Varuna during Devadana war में Mitra Varuna supported the Asuras, इसलिए उनको ऋग्वेद में असुर भी कहा गया।
Then that goes
And the Varuna only Ononos in the Sumerians,
Syria
Ononos and Uranus in the Greeks one. So ये है जो even genetic migration also R1A का अगर origin India है, so then entire Eurasia में जो migrations है, it is all proper.
And you know, many years ago when I went to Croatia, so one interesting thing
All
which they
interested,
said
just I can show them 20 minutes documentary.
Which place?
in Croatia, Zagreb, present the film. Oh, what they said, you know, you are the only civilization which is actually got that depth and everything. And so it must have all come from here.
एक इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज
Must
मैं भी
have
कहना
come
चाहूँगा।
Have you written about the Croatian?
Read a book on
सर जरा सर एक चीज जरा बोलिए सर, जो ये कहा जा रहा है हम वेस्ट से आए हैं, ऐसा नहीं है। एक्चुअल में जब जलप्लावन आख्यान की सूचना मिलती है कि बहुत बड़ी फ्लड आई, ये जो है आपको ब्राह्मण ट्रेडिशन में मिलता है, हमारे यहाँ मिलता है, बट उन्होंने सी लेवल क्या है ये नहीं बताया है। और हम ये कहते हैं कि हमारा सी लेवल मानसरोवर है, मानसरोवर तक पानी है, और जब मानसरोवर तक पानी होगा तो यूराल तक डूब चुका था पानी में, ये लोग तो थे ही नहीं, बचे थे तो कुछ जो उत्तर पूर्व यानी जो हमारा जो चाइना का जो हिस्सा जो पड़ता है उधर सिलोदा के आसपास का, हम बचे थे मानसरोवर के आसपास ही जो लोग बचे थे, कुछ उधर उतर गए और कुछ इधर उतर करके आए और यहीं से माइग्रेट होकर के पश्चिम में जाए। और सर एक और बड़ा प्रमाण है, वाल्मीकि रामायण का जो उत्तरकांड है उसको जो है झूठा कहने के लिए वो बाहर का प्रक्षिप्त है, ये बड़ी साजिश थी यूरोप की। वह साजिश यह थी कि देखिए सर, गंधर्वों का जो लैंड थी वो वहां से लेकर के जो वाल्मीकि एटलस है, गंधर्व लोग जो है सिंधु नदी से लेकर के वो पूरा जो है इंग्लैंड पर जो आज का एरिया है वहां तक शासन कर रहे थे। किंगडम उनकी राजधानी ये वाला पोर्शन था। जब युधाजित ने जो इनके युधाजित जो भरतलाल के मामा हैं, गार्ग को भेजे और राम से कहे हैं कि भाई यहाँ पर जो है गंधर्व लोग बड़ी परेशानियां कर रहे हैं, इनको ठीक करना है। तो वहां पर जो है जीतने की स्ट्रेटजी बनाई गई और वहां पर जो है भरतलाल जी अपने दो पुत्रों के साथ जाते हैं और वहां पर जो है 5 वर्ष लगातार जो है कंटिन्यू युद्ध हुआ था। और उस समय जो है ऐसे सूचना आती है बहुत सारे गंधर्व लोग मारे गए, ठीक है। तो जब गंधर्व लोग मारे गए पूरा कब्जा किया गया और हमारी जो पहली जो साउथ पश्चिमोत्तर की जो सबसे बड़ी जो डिफेंस पोस्ट बनाई गई वो तक्षशिला की बनाई गई। और तक्षशिला जब तक भारत के कब्जे में रहा, जब तक हम बैठे रहे, और वहीं से हमने लगातार दरद क्षेत्र हमारा कहा गया जो अफगानिस्तान वाला जोन जो है, दरद का मतलब होता है जो शत्रुओं को वहीं नष्ट कर दे जितने भी वार्स हो। और सर इसमें श्रीमद् भागवत में भी सूचना जो है वहां दे रहे हैं वेदव्यास कि यवनों का एक बड़ा प्रबल आक्रमण हुआ था, उस आक्रमण का प्रतिरोध करके वहीं पर उनको चेक कर दिया गया था। तो ये जो सूचना मिल रही है इसके लाइट में है कि ये जितना भी उधर फैले हैं अब्राहमिक रिलीजन वगैरह में भी, ये सब जो है सब विस्तार तो यहीं से होगा। मानसरोवर का सी लेवल जब आप देखेंगे कैलकुलेट करके आप लोग देखिए उसकी हाइट और सारे पर्वतों की हाइट देख लीजिए, तो बचने के चांस वहां या कुछ अफ्रीका वाले पर्वत वाले जोन में कुछ बचे होंगे, इसलिए माइग्रेशन इधर से हो रहा है। और इनकी अगर हम लोगों की अगर आप जेनेटिक साइंस में लोग हों सर, इन लोगों के जीन और हम लोगों के जीन मिला के देख लिया, कैलकुलेट करके देख लिया जाए हमसे गए हैं कि हमसे आए, ये नहीं हो सकता है, ठीक है। और जिस जोन की वो बात कर रहे हैं सर, जो यूराल पर्वत वाला क्षेत्र है, वहां पर बहुत बड़ी मछलियों की सूचना मिल रही समुद्र में और बड़े ही बहुत विशाल का जो है पक्षियों की सूचना मिल रही है जो तिमिंगिल मछलियों को अपने पंजों में लेकर के उड़ते हैं और पर्वतों पर जाकर के खाते हैं। ये सूचना वाल्मीकि एटलस में मिल रही है। और वाल्मीकि एटलस के अनुसार एक और मैं प्रश्न करूंगा एस्ट्रोलॉजी के सामने जो है, एक वहां पर सूचना आती है कि भगवान विष्णु अर्थात सूर्य का जो प्रथम पाद है वह उदयगिरी जापान पर पड़ता है, उसका मध्य भाग जो है ब्रह्मा जी के आश्रम अर्थात हिमालय पर पड़ता है, और उसका थर्ड जो चरण है वो यूराल पर्वत साइड में, वहां पे सूर्यास्त हो रहा है। और चूंकि बाली के डर से सुग्रीव भागा था इसलिए वो पूरा जापान से लेकर के और पूरा जो है वो यूराल पर्वत पर घुमा था, इसलिए उसको पता है कि किस किस नेशन में कितने जो है खराब लोग हैं, कहाँ पर कैसे बरतना है। जब आप जाइएगा, जब सेना का वहां पर भेजा जा रहा है, तो वो जो संदर्भ है वो सिद्ध करता है मनु के काल में इनका माइग्रेशन उधर हुआ, बदमाशी किए तो राम ने इनको जीता और अयोध्या से जीता था, ये सत्य है। और वही एक पहला हमारा आक्रमण है। यो कहे अपने भाइयों को ही जो गंधर्व लोग बिगड़ैल हो गए थे उनको सुधारने का काम किया गया था और तक्षशिला को हमारी डिफेंस पोस्ट बनाई गई थी। तो अगर हम मानसरोवर के जलप्लावनाख्यान को देखेंगे और ये कहानी यहाँ से अब्राहमिक यहीं से गई है, और अब्राहमिक टर्म भी जो है ये महाभारत का टर्म है। आप ब्रह्म भुवनान लोकान पुनरावर्तिनो अर्जुन, ब्रह्म लोक 7 स्काई की जो सूचना अब्राहमिक ट्रेडिशन में आती है, चाहे वो ज्यूज हो या चाहे जो है ईसाई हो या चाहे जो है इस्लामिक फॉलोअर्स हो मोहम्मद साहब के जो, तो ये लोग 7वें आसमान तक ही जाते हैं। क्यों? क्योंकि 7 स्काई की अवधारणा जो है ये हमारी अपनी ट्रेडिशन है और ये एकदम क्लियर कट जो है गीता में कहा ही गया है, आप ब्रह्म भुवनान लोकान। वो 7 लोग 14 लोग की जो अवधारणा है 7 ऊर्ध्व वाले लोग हैं। लेकिन एक बड़ी दिक्कत यह भी है, वहां पर ये लोग 3rd लेयर तक पहुंचते हैं और हमारे यहाँ 7th लेयर जो ब्रह्मा का है, जिसको सत्यलोक कहा गया है, जो उसके नीचे 1,28,000 कल्पों तक उसकी आयु होती है, वहां पर वो क्या नाम है, नष्ट नहीं होता है, वो बना रहता है। ये पृथ्वी कई बार बदलती रहती है, तो ध्यान दें कुछ ऐसी अदृश्य सत्ताएं हैं जो कभी भी किसी भी तरह का स्वरूप कहीं बना सकती हैं, इधर से उधर मूव कर सकती हैं। उत्तरवर्ती सृष्टियां प्रलय के बाद उनसे होती हैं, ये सुसंगति बन रही है। तो पश्चिम से यहाँ पर आक्रमण हुआ ऐसा नहीं है, हम लोग ये लोग माइग्रेट यहीं से करके गए हैं और हिमालय की भूमि से लोग गए हैं। इनके जीन टेस्ट किए जाएंगे ना, और पूरा अमेरिका तो बौद्धों की धरती रही है। मैक्सिको की हिस्ट्री आप देख लें, वहाँ पर जो है मूर्तियाँ मिलती हैं, तो पूरा मैक्सिको पर्यंत तो जो है बौद्ध लोग जो यात्रा करके इंडियन गए हैं माइग्रेट करके, और बेरिंग जल संधि से गए हुए हैं। तो ये चीज़ें रिलेट हो रही हैं और हम ही पहले जो है दुनिया में यहीं से फैले हुए हैं। हाँ, गंधर्वों को हमने सुधारा भी था और तक्षशिला हमारी डिफेंस पोस्ट बनाई गई, और तक्षशिला में बैठ करके ही जन्मेजय ने वार स्ट्रेटजी सीखी। ये भी वहाँ संदर्भ आता है, एक ग्रंथ है नीति प्रकाशिका, मैं बीएचयू में चूंकि उसको पढ़ाता हूँ मिलिट्री साइंस वाले पोर्शन में, तो उसमें वार स्ट्रेटजी में एक अच्छी बात बताई गई कि हमको अपनी एनिमी के अगेंस्ट जो है 3 टाइम अधिक जो है पावर से उपस्थित हो रहा है। 3 टाइम सिक्योरिटी लेयर थी, मोर देन 3 टाइम जो है वेपन्स, मोर देन 3 टाइम जो है वो कमांडर्स, सोल्जर्स, ये लेकर के अटैक करना है। तो ये चीजें सिद्ध करती हैं, ये महाभारत हमारा इतिहास है और इसकी जो हिस्ट्री है वो मनु महाराज से, और यह स्वयंभू मनु से जुड़ रही है। स्वयंभू मनु अलग हैं और जो वैवस्वत मनु अलग है, और ये हम वैवस्वत मनु की सृष्टि की बात कर रहे हैं। और यह कल्पना करना कि 8,000 पहले बरस धरती बनी, तो भाई ये पागलपन की पराकाष्ठा है। जो लोग इसमें विश्वास करते हैं भाई उनको हम लोग जो सामान्य इंसान नहीं कर सकते हैं। और एक बड़ी बात है, हम अपनी हिस्ट्री लिख रहे हैं तो भैया हमको, या जब व्यास कुछ लिखे होंगे या वाल्मीकि लिखे होंगे, तो उस समय भैया ने ऑक्सफोर्ड पैदा था, हार्वर्ड पैदा था, प्रमाण पत्र हमारे यहाँ से जाता था। आज भी प्रमाण पत्र इंडिया से जाना चाहिए, इसलिए आज यह डेट डिसाइड होनी चाहिए, कंफ्यूजन दूर होना चाहिए, क्योंकि इतना मैराथन बैठे फिर पता नहीं कब होगी कब नहीं होगी। और जो हम माने उसको हमारे हिस्टोरियंस एक्सेप्ट करें। हमको अपने ब्रेन पर विश्वास जिस दिन होना शुरू हो जाएगा ना, उस दिन पुनः हम जो विश्वगुरु बन चुके हैं। और आज ये सभा हमको विश्वगुरु बनाने जा ही रही है, हम लोग डिसाइड कर लें।
अब मेरा बहुत बढ़िया आपने बोला है, बहुत बढ़िया। मैं चाहूंगी कि 2-2, 3-3 या 5 मिनट के अंदर हमारे कुछ एक्सपर्ट्स, कैन आई स्टार्ट विथ यू एंड देन तिवारी जी एंड देन आई विल कॉल एवरीवन, गिव योर आइडियाज अबाउट हाउ डू आई गिव यू अ माइक, हाउ डू आई गिव यू अ माइक, so that we can just do a concluding.
I'll be very, very brief because I have been listening, of course, to many things that were not new to me, because we have been dealing with these issues about chronological corrections for a few years now. I remember the first conference I attended on astronomy in aid to history was in Chennai in 1979. So, you know, it goes back a long time, but I'm glad that this field has been developed further. Many problems remain as far as, of course, finding a sort of a coordination between some of the ancient Indian dates and those of other civilizations. But As you know, there are now major developments in the Middle East and in other parts of the world showing that for tens of thousands of years and have major achievements to their credit which have been either neglected or not even discovered. So people like Graham Hancock and others who so far were not respected and still are not respected by so-called politically correct official archaeologists and historians are now being acknowledged as having anticipated on discoveries which are now made through scientific means, such as what has been recently discovered under the pyramids in Egypt and in other parts of Egypt, for example, not to mention Göbekli Tepe now in Turkey, and a few other monuments. And even in Indonesia, you are dealing now with the possibility of monuments being over 26,000 years old. The same is true now in Europe, in some parts of Europe, particularly in Bosnia, the pyramids of Bosnia, and there are many other pyramids in the world which are known to be as old, if not older, than the Egyptian pyramids, which for many of them are much older than we thought they were. Particularly the 3 pyramids of Gizeh, and of course the others which have often been ignored. So all I wanted to say is that we can take support from other data that are coming from other parts of the world to show that drastically revising Indian chronology back into history is becoming increasingly plausible and credible because it matches discoveries that have been made all over the world, and in particular the discovery of 2 factors. One is of course the Younger Dryas effect on civilization and the probable destruction of a much more developed civilization in that Younger Dryas period, after which there was a restart, inheriting some of the features of the lost civilization. And the other thing which is very interesting is what is called the demographic bottleneck, which occurred in the late Neolithic, which is very broadly situated between 6000 BCE and about 3000 or 2800 BC, depending where you locate yourself. And during this bottleneck, it's called a bottleneck because it is accepted through genetic evidence that 90% of the population of the world was wiped out. And this is accredited to a series of natural disasters, but also, interestingly, man-made disasters, in a sense, very, very major wars in which people literally massacred each other and left very few survivors. And the very, you might say, philosophical lesson from the Mahabharata is in fact that there was a massive depopulation of India because of the number of people who were killed in that battle. Obviously, this must have taken over a long period of time. It's not a single battle in 18 days, but it is definitely a process of which has now been recorded, or at least which has been discovered to have occurred, probably on an intercontinental basis. So anyway, just to summarize, I think that, of course, a lot more work has to be done, and I'm sure that most of the people who are experts who have come to this forum are going to mostly stay on their own positions. They are not going to easily change their conclusions, because it will take more, and as it was said before, until we find some irrefutable epigraphic documentary evidence, it will obviously be difficult to change the estimations that have been made on the basis of a combination of astronomy and archaeology. But let's see. I think that we are going through very interesting times, and possibly new discoveries will be made underground in India and also offshore that will yield results that will no longer be questionable. In particular, what has been found off the coast of Mahabalipuram and also in the Bay of, in the Gulf of Khambhat and around the coast of Gujarat. I'm sure many other discoveries await us, because we know that India, before that very sharp rise of the sea level, was a much larger country, especially in the south, and that explains the existence of the, the first 2 South Indian empires, which have, according to tradition, been swallowed by the sea. So once you find their existence, the previous, the 2 earlier Madurai, then you obviously will see how much is true about the Kumarakanta,
Yes.
and which has been speculated upon by a number of Western researchers as well. They gave it various names, but you are still dealing with a very massive continent connecting Africa to South Asia. So anyway, that's where I leave it, but I think this is all a process that goes towards the deepening of those discoveries.
Very good.
So Kom Carpentier is a distinguished fellow with the India Foundation. He is the editor of Journal of World Affairs and been in India and very, very keen student of Indian civilizational studies and compares it to the world. So you have got an idea about what it is. I would like Tiwari ji to say some, share his valuable comments, please.
उसमें महाभारत युद्ध की तिथि को निर्धारित करने का
कुरुक्षेत्र धर्म युद्ध की तिथि
सभी लोग प्रयास कर रहे हैं
जी सॉरी
तो दृष्टिकोण और अप्रोच दोनों अलग अलग है। पुरातत्व का अलग है और ग्रह नक्षत्रों की स्थिति को सॉफ्टवेयर से कैलकुलेट करना अलग है। निष्कर्ष पे जहां हम लोग पहुंच रहे हैं वो
आज के दिन के बारे में बताएं।
हाँ, आज की मीटिंग के ही बारे में बताएं। तो निष्कर्ष में कुछ ऐसा लगता है कि ज़्यादातर लोग 3100 3200 के आसपास ही मन बना रहे हैं और 100 साल का अंतर पुरातत्व में कोई खास माने नहीं रखा। एक जमाना 1950 और 51 के आसपास का था जब पेंटेड ग्रेवेयर की डेट 500 300 BC, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा 700 BC, अगर कोई 1000 BC कह दे तो उसको लोग दौड़ा लेते कि इतना पुराना कैसे पेंटेड ग्रेवेयर हो। लेकिन अब इधर जो है वो तमाम ऐसी तिथियां आई हैं जो 3100 से लेकर के और पुरानी है और उन पुरानी की सीमा 5000 तक जाने लगी है। तो अगर आज की तिथि में 3100 3200 BC आप मान रहे हैं महाभारत युद्ध की तिथि, तो वो दिन दूर नहीं होगा कि आपको फिर बैठक करनी पड़ेगी और ये तय करना पड़ेगा कि महाभारत वार इससे भी पहले।
Professor D.P. Tiwari ji has been our excavator for Kautilya 2010-11 when he was heading Lucknow University Ancient History, and currently he is Vice Chancellor. He has been Vice Chancellor in many universities, but currently he is Vice Chancellor in Kota Technology.
जय विनेश आदिवासी यूनिवर्सिटी नौ टर्म
Janma
जय
Jai Vinesh Adivasi University. Okay, so he is that. किसको चांस नहीं मिला था? आई वुड लाइक टू गिव आवर आई जस्ट कम बैक टू यू, जो जयपुर से आए हैं 2 जने और एक हिमाचल से आए हैं। आउट ऑफ दिल्ली वालों को पहले हम यस प्लीज आप अपना इंट्रोड्यूस करके बोलेंगे तो हमारा टाइम बचेगा। आज के संदर्भ में
सभी को नमस्कार। सभी को नमस्ते। ये तिथि निर्णय के लिए जो गोष्ठी आयोजित हुई इसमें मैं वेद प्रकाश मिश्र भारतीय शिक्षा बोर्ड में हूँ और संस्कृत स्कॉलर हूँ। वहाँ पर IKS और संस्कृत की पुस्तकें बना रहे हैं। भारतीय शिक्षा बोर्ड आपको परिचित होंगे ऐसी आशा है। स्वामी रामदेव जी उसके अभी चेयरमैन हैं और फाउंडेशनल से 12वीं तक की पुस्तकें तैयार कर रहे हैं। 8वीं तक की हो गई हैं। वहाँ साइंस में मैथ में सारी चीज़ों में जो भी हम चैप्टर पढ़ा रहे हैं उसमें IKS इंक्लूड है। गुरुत्वाकर्षण न्यूटन को पढ़ा रहे हैं तो आद्य पतना समाय कारणत्वम गुरुत्वम के साथ में पढ़ा रहे हैं। इस तरह की व्यवस्था कल्पित की गई है। नीरा मैम ने इसके विषय में 2 महीना पहले मुझे बताया था कि हम लोग इस तरह का काम करने वाले हैं और मैं संस्कृत के एक्सपर्ट के रूप में, जैसे सर ने अभी चर्चा की थी कि श्रवण शब्द का अर्थ कई अर्थ आता है, नक्षत्र में भी है, सुनने अर्थ श्रवणेन्द्रिय अर्थ में भी है। तो इस तरह वहाँ नक्षत्र होगा या सुन करके, तो सुन करके आना है अगर तो वहाँ पे अक्त्वा प्रत्यय का प्रयोग होता है तो वो श्रुत्वा हो जाएगा, जैसा गत्वा जा करके, नत्वा नमस्कार करके। तो इस तरह से तो मैं व्याकरण के एक्सपर्ट के रूप में यहाँ उपस्थित हूँ अभी और कल भी रहूँगा। तो काफी महत्वपूर्ण है और जितने रेफरेंसेस हैं मुझे ऐसा लगा इसमें मैं सारे सर्च कर रहा था आप लोगों के श्लोक और संदर्भ को पूरे प्रसंग के साथ मैंने पढ़ा। जैसे एक या दो श्लोक उस अध्याय के यहाँ प्रस्तुत होते थे, लेकिन मैं उसका पूरा संदर्भ पढ़ता था। वैशंपायन उवाच से लेकर के मैंने कई जगह देखा, जो हमारे साथ बैठी जय मैम है, एस्ट्रोलॉजी उसमें इंक्लूड है और एस्ट्रोनॉमी एस्ट्रोलॉजी दोनों चीजें हैं। जैसे कलयुग वाला प्रसंग जो आया था उसमें मैंने देखा कि चारों युगों का वहां वर्णन आता है और फिर अभी एतत् कलि प्रवर्तते, मतलब उस प्रसंग में ज्यादा जाता है कि निकृष्ट कर्म शुरू होने वाला है। अगर सात्विक विचार होते हैं तो वहाँ द्वापर में ये गुण होते हैं, इस तरह की चीजें आई हुई हैं। तो दोनों चीजों का मिश्रण हमें प्राप्त होता है। जितने भी हम संदर्भ देखे हैं तो एस्ट्रोलॉजी और एस्ट्रोनॉमी दोनों के मिश्रित हैं। हमें अपने उद्देश्य से उनको एक एक साइड करके प्रयोग हम कर सकते हैं। बहुत सारे संदर्भ वेदवीर आर्य सर ने प्रस्तुत किए हैं, एक दो संदर्भ नहीं है। और अगर कुछ एस्ट्रोलॉजी के भी उसमें होते हैं तो भी पर्याप्त संदर्भ हैं कि 3000 ईसा पूर्व हम उसको स्वीकार करें। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Ji. I want you to highlight to whether it's Ravana means hearing or nurture. You please, because you are a subject expert.
मैंने उदाहरण वहाँ पे दिया था सर।
I will give my phone. You can explain to.
दूसरे की बात है उनको डायरेक्ट फोन में ही बात कर सकते
You are an expert in Sanskrit. No, but I want your gain.
Sure.
Sir, in one line you are saying त्वा is basically त्वा कृदंत पद आता है ना?
हाँ, समान कर्तृकयोः पूर्व काले त्वा।
Correct. So that means that if it was here, then
it
it would have been कृदंत पद, whereas it is श्रवणे, which is the
नक्षत्र।
Exactly, it is नक्षत्र. I was saying.
और श्रवण इंद्रिय के लिए भी प्रयोग होता है, श्रवण इंद्रिय, है ना? तो व्यापक कई अर्थों में प्रयोग होता है। उस प्रसंग में वैसा आता है।
Please highlight.
विजेंद्र जी कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे?
जी
विजेंद्र जी कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे? जयपुर से आए हैं विजेंद्र जी, वो भी संस्कृत के
अभी उपलब्ध नहीं है।
नहीं है तो उनके योगेश जी कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे जो हिमाचल से आए हैं?
वो भी अभी उपलब्ध नहीं है।
चले गए वो? अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा। और कौन रह गया जिसने आज नहीं बोला है? You want to say something? हाँ. So 3 minutes and then we'll listen to Jayashree ji a little bit because I think उनकी कुछ incomplete बात रह गई थी. So please.
सबको नमस्ते. I'm Dr. Raghavendra Mishra. Namaste. I'm Dr. Raghavendra Mishra. I have completed my Master and PhD from JNU School of Sanskrit and Vedic Studies. Currently, I am teaching in LSD National School of Drama. मैं यहाँ एक चीज़ कहना चाह रहा हूँ अपनी बात में विल डुरेंट से शुरू करता हूँ, जिन्होंने हिस्ट्री ऑफ सिविलाइजेशन लिखा है। और सर ने जो बात कही लास्ट में, उनकी बातों जो मैं सहमत होते हुए उसी को थोड़ा विल डुरेंट के लाइन में बोल रहा हूँ कि इंडिया के संबंध क्या था। भारत हमारी जात की मातृभूमि है और संस्कृत यूरोप की भाषाओं की जननी है। वह हमारे दर्शन की जननी है, अरबों की जननी है, हमारे अधिकांश गणित की जननी है, बुद्ध की जननी है, ईसाई धर्म में सन्निहित आदर्श की जननी है, स्वशासन और लोकतंत्र के ग्राम समुदाय की जननी है। भारत माता कई मायनों में हम सब की जननी है। मेरा स्टेटमेंट नहीं है, हिस्ट्री ऑफ सिविलाइजेशन विल डुरेंट का स्टेटमेंट। अब दूसरी बात, सर की बातों को मैं चाहूँगा कि एक ग्रंथ बताऊंगा, आप सब लोग पढ़ें तो सर की बातें और यथोचित हो जाएंगी। पूरी भारत की बातें हैं, पूरे विश्व की बातें हैं। इंद्र विजय एक ग्रंथ है, उस इंद्र विजय ग्रंथ को आप सब लोग नोट कर लीजिए। उस ग्रंथ को एक बार स्टार्टिंग में याद नहीं पढ़ना, स्टार्टिंग का मात्र 30 पेज पढ़िए आप लोग। उसमें पूरी दुनिया का भूगोल सब कुछ दिया गया है। और हमारे वैदिक ग्रंथ से लेकर रामायण महाभारत, उसमें सभी ग्रंथों में एक कॉन्सेप्ट आता है। उसी कॉन्सेप्ट को माइंड बैठा लीजिए, सप्तद्वीपा पृथ्वी। तो सप्तद्वीपा पृथ्वी की अवधारणा केवल हमारे यहाँ मिलती है और उसमें फिर कैसे कैसे राष्ट्र बने। आप सबको पता है आज के 200 वर्ष बाद यह भी कहा जा सकता है कि पाकिस्तान और भारत का कोई संबंध नहीं था। ये भारत के और डिवीजन हो जाए तो ये भी कहा जा सकता है, सब हालांकि वैसा होने वाला है। तो वैसे पूरी दुनिया इसी के अंतर्गत थी। तो एक बार मेरा निवेदन है, एक बात और, पूरी दुनिया में सूर्य मंदिर 100 है। अगर उस 100 सूर्य मंदिर के आधार पे ही हम अपने सिविलाइजेशन कल्चर का स्टडी करें तो उसमें नो डाउट आपका फ्रांस से लेकर अमेरिका से लेकर पूरा यूरोप, पूरा अरब कंट्री, सारी चीज़ें आ जाएंगी। सूर्य, चंद्र, आदि शक्ति, जो गार्डनी में ज्वाला देवी का टेम्पल है उसको आप देखेंगे तो ये सारी चीज़ें आपको अंत में यही निष्कर्ष निकलेगा। या चाइना की दीवार पे जो संस्कृत में वाक्य लिखा है, इन सभी चीजों को जब देखेंगे तो यही बात आएगा कि अंततः सारी चीजें यही से थी, यहाँ से चीजें गई। और भारत का मतलब 1947 का भारत नहीं है।
Jayashree ji, I think you have a few points you would like to say in 2-3 minutes.
Thank you, Ji. Anyway, tomorrow I will be presenting. In the presentation, I will explain what I wanted to say.
Any observations for today's just 2-3 minutes?
Went on very well.
एक ग्रंथ का
It was a
संदर्भ
very well organized
बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है।
a very well organized program, and we completed almost all the points given in the PPT, which is really remarkable. I was just wondering how we will be able to finish in 2 days, but we have finished it in just 3/4 of a day. It's wonderful. The credit goes to Dr. Vegji Radia. It was a well organized one. The credit goes to this Ji, I should say. And since I am a presenter, I will present tomorrow. Observers are in a better position to give the comments about what has happened. So I am passing Thank you.
So he wants to give a
एक सूचना और देना चाहूँगा, बड़ी एडवांस है। साउथ के लोगों ने बड़ी अच्छी लगी थी। क्या ग्रंथ लिखा है, भाव प्रकाश, क्या भाव प्रकाश, उसमें उन्होंने हिमयोग की पहली बार सूचना दिया है। विश्व के किसी भी सिविलाइजेशन में कोई भी पहला ऐसा ग्रंथ नहीं है जिसने पहली बार सूचना दिया हिमयुग की। पहली सूचना हिमयुग की जो है,
आपका नाम दोबारा बता दीजिए।
शारदा तनय का भाव प्रकाशन, और वहीं पर पूरे भारत के जो है लिंग्विस्टिक सर्वे भी किया गया। पहला लिंग्विस्टिक सर्वे भारत का वहीं पर किया गया है। द्रविड़ लैंग्वेज वगैरह साउथ के 68 लैंग्वेज की सूचना मिलती है। तो हिमयुग के आधार पर भी अगर हम लोग कहीं कुछ बात अगर कर रहे हैं, साइंस वाले राज कर रहे हैं, वो कश्मीरी स्कॉलर की देन है और उसको किसी न किसी पुरानी ट्रेडिशन से मिला हुआ है। वो ग्रंथ हमारे पूर्ववर्ती जो है विलुप्त हो गए, तो उस हिमयुग को ध्यान में रख करके भी इस चीज़ों पर हम लोग समझेंगे तो ज़्यादा अच्छा है, क्योंकि उत्तर भारत में सूचना दे रहे हैं कि बहुत सारे लोग छोड़ करके साउथ इंडिया चले गए हैं। ये हिमयुग हुआ था और उसी समय पूरे जो भारतवर्ष का नाम हिमवर्ष रखा गया था। ये मिलता है भारत के पहले हिमवर्ष है, उसके बाद अंजनाभ वर्ष है जो है, ये नाम पहले से मिलता है जो है। तो इस पर ध्यान रखेंगे कि हिमयुग के आधार पर जब हिमयुग को लेकर के चर्चा करते हैं तो थोड़ा सा कश्मीरी स्कॉलर को भी देखें और फिर जो है इस महाभारत को, क्योंकि महाभारत के बाद कोई हिमयुग की सूचना नहीं मिल रही, बहुत पहले का हिमयुग है। और वो हिमयुग मुझे लग रहा है जब हुआ होगा इंडिया में तो पूरा यूरोप जो है क्या नाम है बर्फ से पड़ चुका होगा। बताया अगर यहाँ पर हिमयुग हो जाए तो क्या प्रभाव नहीं पड़ेगा क्या पूरे ग्रुप पर? यूरेशिया पे तो पड़ेगा ना,
लेकिन भारत पर नहीं पड़ेगा,
पड़ेगा।
हिमालय है।
नहीं मैम, वो उत्तर भारत, वो जब लिख रहे हैं ना तो पूरा उत्तर भारत जो है बर्फ की चादर में ढका हुआ है। वो साउथ इंडिया पलायन हो रहे हैं, साउथ इंडिया की तरफ लोग माइग्रेट कर रहे हैं बचने के लिए। एक स्पष्ट बिंदु ये एज रहे हैं, साइंस की बातें कह रहे हैं।
4 हिमयुग, 3 अंतर हिमयुग, 4 उसका जो है वर्षा काल, अंतर वर्षा काल, ये सब बड़ी वाइड।
Anybody wants to come for comments?
मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूँ उसकी सूचना पहली बार जो शारदा तनय दे रहे हैं, ये मैं बता रहा हूँ।
यूरोप में 5 हो गए सर वो हिमयुग, क्यों एक विवर भी है, एक नया
वो तो मतलब चलता रहेगा।
शारदा का समय क्या?
1300 के आसपास।
Dr. Manish will sum up, and then we'll have Hema ji and Hari ji also sum up.
It is a great pleasure to come for such a beautiful meeting of our scholars. I mean, our internal differences are there, but outside the conference we are all friends. And inside the government also we are friends. मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि हम तलवार that we are fighting sword to sword. We have a passion, which is why we argue passionately, and we are Indians. So, you know, we are argumentative Indians.
Yes, yes, yes.
Basically, we like to argue.
Yes.
That doesn't mean much. I mean, the point is, there will be a consensus. The first consensus, when I first started doing all this, I made a film called Krishna History, which I made because I got into a very bad argument with a lady doctor, junior from Lady Harding Medical College, who was in England. And I was telling somebody that you should read Bhagavad Gita, it will help you. And this person said, what is the point of Bhagavad Gita because Sri Krishna never existed? So that is when it struck me that I need to do something about this. And that is how I started making the films. And it was very difficult to convince anybody. Ministry of External Affairs at that point told me that you cannot make it Krishna History or myth. You have to make the film Krishna the myth. Like that. Otherwise we won't give you the permission. Then I had to tell him that no, look, you know, you have to do this, you have to do that. And finally, after months and months of this, sending packages by DHL to Ministry of External Affairs, I got the permission for filming Krishna History. And that is how I met Dr. Narari Achar. And it was never my intention to actually come and do any of this work at all, but Muralidhar Krishna has got his own base. And as you know, one of the other astronomers called me a dog and etc. on social media, and then, you know, I had to step up and come and and at least say that, well, you know, that the war cannot occur in 5000 BC, it has to occur in 3000 BC. And why it has to occur in 3000 BC is the point. So I think we will come to some sort of a consensus, but the main thing is that Mahabharata existed, Sri Krishna existed, Indian civilization is extremely ancient, and it has to be all held in great respect. You know, that is very important. Because I think as Indians, we have to stand up for our own civilization. That is the thing, I think, which is the takeaway from all this eventually. Because eventually that is what it will come down to. If you believe that this is what it is, there is one thing is the facts. We have presented the facts. But facts don't mean anything to people outside if you don't stand up for the facts. That is the thing. You have to stand up for it. That's about it. And I hope in the future, you know, it will come into the textbooks at least that, you know, that there is a Mahabharata, and this is what it eventually comes down to some sort of consensus. Thank you very much for inviting me.
डेट के बारे में क्या ख्याल है?
हाँ जी.
डेट के बारे में कंसाइज ख्याल क्या है?
देखिए, when I made Krishna History or Myth, because I am from Pune and I am a Jyotishi from age of 23. Okay, so I am also a nuclear medicine doctor, but before that I was a surgeon and all that. So I am a person with science background and extensive scientific background. So there is a very peculiar sort of thing. So I checked all the dates at that point. In 2000, from 2004 to 2008, before I chose Dr. Narari Achar for my research, I checked all the dates. Every single date, including Vartak. There's a Vartak was from Pune. I know Vartak, Dr. Vartak. So the point is, I could only find that in 3067 BC, most of the references will fit. That is why I chose it for my film. I spent 28 lakhs of rupees making that film in those days, right? I made it with my own money. There was no reason to do it, right? It put me in debt, right? I will not do something like that. Why will I do it? I can easily give the money to my wife and kids and they will enjoy themselves. बराबर है ना? मैं खुद का पैसा क्यों डालूं उसमें? That was the point. So I only did it because I believed in the date, right? If I don't believe in the date, I will not do it. So 3067 BC for me is the year of the war. It is the year in which everything fits effectively. Most of the references will fit in that.
So can we go to Dr. M.L. Raja and then Hema Hariji? Dr. M.L. Raja, would you like to give your expert comments towards the end in 2-3 minutes, please?
Thank you, madam. Today is very useful. But one thing I want to highlight, the research should be multidisciplinary, not only astronomy. A building standing on a single pillar will not last long. archaeology should be there, inscriptions should be there, literature and chronology. At least
Tomorrow we
five.
are having archaeologists and inscriptions session. Today was astronomy, tomorrow is archaeology
Yes,
and
madam, that I can understand, but I am saying my opinion.
yes.
We are not leaving any field in this session, but that should be thing. And one who research this date should be thorough in astrology, astronomy and Sanskrit grammar. Sma, if you add sma verb, that even the verb is in present tense, it will be giving the sense of past tense. Like that, grammar should be there, Sanskrit grammar. These are all my few observations. Hope we will do best as today, like tomorrow also will be a best.
So are you happy with today's discussion?
Yes, madam.
The moderation and the topics discussed, do you think they are relevant?
Yes, madam.
Very good.
Because everybody scholarly spoke. That I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hema ji, I need you to
Namaste. At the onset, I think we should all thank Meera ji for having So at the onset, I think we should thank Meera ji for having identified each one of us present here and assembled a beautiful gathering of, like he said, archaeology, astronomy, literature, grammar, and overall global history, world history, civilizational history, Indian knowledge, all subjects which are relevant and needed for churning through a topic of this kind. So you have really taken great trouble to identify and bring all of us here. So kudos to you, and from the number of sponsors, I know how difficult it must have been a task, and you've really taken care of all of us who have come from outstation. So that is, really a lot of appreciation for that. And secondly, there has been a need for this kind of a conference for the last at least over 100 years, because two challenges. One, to get Sri Krishna out of mythology into history has been one of the main challenges. And then, how do you say somebody is historical? Unless you give a date as per the English calendar. I'll use the word English calendar so that it's common for whether you say Gregorian or Julian or whatever, the Western calendar. So unless you give that, the world and also our current modern educated mind does not accept something as history. So these are the two challenges that has been there for so many, more than a century. And it is thanks to a generation one of scholars, independent researchers. We have had people like LD Lewis Dominic Swami Pillai from Madras, who has done the ephemeris manually. Then you had Professor Srinivasa Raghavan, Kota Venkatachalam, and all these people who worked to bring Sri Krishna out from mythology into historicity, at least made him a talking point and a point of inspiration for so many of us to then take on more work. If they had not done that and left behind their works for us, I don't think any of us may have even wanted to do anything further. We may not even have known about it. So that is one thing, that was one challenge which has been met by those people. The second challenge now comes for us is to establish therefore the time period when Krishna, Sri Krishna and the events of Mahabharata would have taken place. And there again you find that there are people who have been precursors, especially people like Professor Narahari Achar, Dr. S. Balakrishna and all, who have used modern technology as well to come up with these kind of dates. So given all this, and then when the current generation, all of us have also taken up the work, today we have met with the challenge of first establishing a time frame and a date for Sri Krishna and Mahabharata. And here I think again I would like to congratulate you and your team, and especially also Dr. Vedmir Arya, for having kind of churned and crystallized all of these into two categories. One is a 3K set of dates and one is a 1.5K set of dates, because otherwise it becomes too difficult to handle the whole problem. So first point is to now choose between one of these two as what could be the more plausible time period. And here is where Kali Yuga actually plays a very important role. And it was very nice that we could all concur on the Kali Yuga era, time period. And we had inscriptions from Dr. M.L. Raja as well, 900 inscriptions. And more fundamentally, what he showed was how all these inscriptions themselves have information to show that even though these inscriptions are in modern lipi, they are not fraud or forgery, and they can be relied upon to arrive at the Kali Yuga set of dates. So to that extent, there was this clarity about the Kali Yuga period. But what beautifully emerged during the churn was that the Kali Yuga date does not directly impact the dating of Mahabharata, the Kurukshetra war. It is more to determine the timeline rather than the actual date, because the text does not really refer to it in a date format as a marker for identifying any event. And the beauty therefore next emerged was Kali and Kali Yuga being two ways to address two different things, one an astronomical event and one effect and influence on the civilization, the people and minds and so on. That also brings in a lot of clarity into the 4 Yuga, 5 Yuga kind of discussions that we've also been having. So with these things in mind, so in a way it was kind of converging to a 3K period for the events of Mahabharata. After that, therefore, then comes down to the question of the dates per se. And this is something which needs a lot more discussion and debate because fundamentally it depends on the interpretation and understanding of the various shlokas. And here is where I found, from my understanding of what was going on here, is the 1.5K set of dates and the 3K set of dates are differing mainly in, like Ashok Bhatnagarji put, they are going, when you say a month, they are taking it for the month as it is. They are saying it is the observed and they are taking it for direct observation, whereas the 3K set of dates comes up with a notion of a calendar also being imposed. The idea of a calendar, idea of a yuga. So it needs additional interpretation vis-a-vis the 1.5K method of understanding and archaeoastronomically dating it. And therefore then when you look at the 3K, at least it is this much clear that it is belonging to a 3K band being more plausible. So then if you have to start looking at it, then you have to get into the discussion about what kind of a calendar, what kind of a yuga, so Magha Shukladi, or is it the Vedanga Jyotisha, or whatever is the different aspect, and how do you therefore understand and interpret the month that is mentioned so that you can astronomically chart it and then arrive at the date. And I think it is a very good step that we have even come thus far, and that too in one day. And this has been possible, Neeraji, only because you had the necessary experts in the room who could clarify then and there. You had a shloka, you had experts who could tell, no, please interpret it like this and like that, rather than leaving it for the next conference or some more papers to come through. So that is the major thing that has helped us conclude at least so much in just the one day. And from here on, therefore, next step for us would be two things. One, and of course, clarity of the history of calendars by Dr. Vedvi Arya really helped in how to understand that there are, even when you say Kali Yuga calendar, you have a 3172, 3127, and then the astronomical date and so on. So calendar is actually important if you are dating something today, but when you are talking about just an astronomical event, the real date of 3102 is sufficient. So I guess the next step forward for all of us would be to sit and analyze these shlokas and then remove that without doubt. But really, does it matter is the next question. How much does it matter? Like they say, 100, 200 year convergence is good enough to take into our history books and spread the word around and get the confidence. Rather than sit and debate on the days and remove the sense of confidence. Because the more divergence you show, then that much of confidence you reduce. So at this level, even if you show that this is the kind of
Convergence.
time frame and there is a convergence in this, that is a big confidence booster. Then the other set of thing would be a greater confidence booster would be if we can get so many archaeological excavations and surveys that have been done, and if those which are not published or whatever, if we can identify those matching with this, and like you said, even going back further, and give a sense of conviction that yes, this civilization is indeed that old, and it has had a wonderful continuous history. Because even today, irrespective whether it was 3102 or 3127 or whatever be the date, we still, all of us converge and celebrate Krishna Janmashtami on the same date across the land, even across countries. Even if there is an Indian somewhere in America, he will celebrate it on the same day, of course, give the other 12 hours gap. So that is a beautiful thing, and I think tomorrow when we have the archaeological session and we hear from them as to how they would like to take it forward so that archaeology and this also converge and make it actually history. Because like I think Alok Tripathi ji said, people are reading archaeology as history. It's not archaeology of India, cannot be taken as history of India. But if we make archaeology, archaeoastronomy, these two converge, then it becomes a real history of India, and that would be beautiful. We had such lovely discussions on the Saraswati River and a lot of clarity on, because we have also been always maintaining that it comes all the way up to Prabhas Patan. There is a lot of evidence for that. Even Alberoni speaks about it. Till 1000 years ago, people, Saraswati he calls it, and Prabhas Patan. And he says people there still believe, and we have been there also seen the Hiran River and all that confluence. So Somnath is a place that needs to be remembered once again for the Saraswati that flowed out from there. Otherwise Somnath would not be such an important place. I mean, it's such an important, and Balrama's pilgrimage, and if we can resolve the thing between the Sushya, Shravana and all that, I think we'll be able to really come out with more data for the people to understand the history of the civilization.
लेकिन ये जो आपने डेट बताई 3067 की, उससे आप सहमत हैं कि नहीं?
हाँ जरूर सहमत है, क्योंकि इसीलिए हमने भी हमारा 3 किताब 3 वॉल्यूम्स प्रिंट
कोई एक निर्णय तो आना चाहिए।
हाँ नहीं, हमारा निर्णय का 20 साल से हम
ट्रेडिशन है वही है,
3000 प्लस,
चैलेंजेस
उस पर कोई संदेह नहीं है। वहाँ हम तो स्थिर हैं।
We wrote those books 25 years ago on those dates and have discussed similarly with Professor Narayan.
We met Narari Acharya himself. He came and stayed with us and he explained all this to us, and that's when we wrote out the book. See, I think
No, he didn't come and stay with us. He had come to Bangalore to meet his sister some 20 years ago. Okay, that one half a session he had come to a conference on Saraswati Nadi and dating the Mahabharata. I met him there. So after lunch, I said I'll drop him at his house in Bengaluru. I sat him in the car and drove him to Chennai.
So
2 days had him here, then put him back on a flight to Bengaluru after 2 days. So all that, so effectively done, videographed all those things. With that, we come up with a historic Krishna 20 years back. With the same.
see, the difference again between this 3067 and 31 various dates is again the interpretation of the start of Kali Yuga. Did it start on the day Krishna left for Goloka, or did it start even when Mahabharata events were still happening? So that is the fundamental discussion. And also if you start taking the date as when Krishna departed, then this whole sequence of event actually goes into a geriatric war. People are fighting when they are 90s and 80s and so on, which doesn't look very plausible. If you take the fact that 3067 date, then Krishna's birth and lifetime, especially now you have to start getting into the aspect, it says Bhagavata Purana, which says that he was born in Srimukha year. So if you put all that, then you get Krishna's lifetime as a 80 years, and which everything fits, 81 years. So it fits in as a nice plausible sequence of event. So it needs a much more holistic set of more debates and more
So the
discussions.
more debates are going to be only on the 3K plus, the difference of 100 to 1, whatever years are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we have to finish by 7 o'clock, so I just want to make 2 comments and then I think everybody has had a say. I think Hari ji would like to say, and then there's a small film by Mani ji, आप भी कुछ conclusion remarks देंगे.
मैं ठीक है, since she has given
जी.
very good remarks.
जी. So I'll just say a few. I'll just say a few things. You said it very well about this conference. You know that this is our 13th conference. In every conference, people come and make a presentation. And that presentation is published and then everybody get brownie points. Oh, so many articles published, so many. But where are we reaching? So I said enough is enough. I will request everybody, please forgive me, no presentations. Let us thrash out the issues that are preventing us from actually coming to a common path. Because we all have to walk the same path, that is the path of Bharat. भारत को हमें स्ट्रॉन्ग बनाना है. कैसे? जब तक उसका इतिहास स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं होगा तब तक we are not able to train our this generation and next generation. So we decided on this methodology, and this also comes from our tradition. Shastra is the best way our seers and our ancestors have followed. So I said now it is time for us to change the methodology. So and another important thing you will notice, 20 years of fight. Why? Because the people who are in universities, people who are in colleges, people who are in any position, archaeologists, they cannot go beyond what the top is wanting. They have to follow the line. They cannot do anything independent. So all the scholars who worked with us are actually independent scholars. It has taken us 20 years to bring ASI onto the board. And
That is a big step.
yes. So just to so I will not speak anymore. I wanted Hariji, if you want to make a few comments, and then Vedvir has come. Your film is ready. Whatever you want.
We will start the.
Sir, always
He
my
has to
wife
say
takes
something.
my wife has the last word. on all this.
Okay, so now we start the film first, or you have something to say?
No, nothing. We'll start this.
Okay, just start. He has a 10-minute film. We'll see this and then.
No,
कोई रह गया हो? Anybody wants to say something? Light बंद कर देना ऊपर वाली.
In the mists of time, countless migrations have taken place as humans were displaced or dispersed by natural disasters. For example, 74,000 years ago, nature unleashed a cataclysm, a massive eruption with the Toba supervolcano in Sumatra caused a volcanic winter that lasted 1,000 years. Volcanic ash shrouded the skies and earth. The life of Homo species was crushed almost to the point of extinction. Humanity had reached the brink of survival. Homo erectus, the first among the Homo species, is believed to have evolved in Africa nearly 2 million years ago. Through the ages as humans have evolved, there have been many out of Africa migrations to populate other parts of the world. One wave of migration we can detect with some certainty occurred around 65,000 years ago, when a small group of humans carrying the M168 genetic marker of haplogroup CT emerged from East Africa. Today, nearly every man outside Africa carries this ancient signature. In 2011, the Genographic Project by IBM and National Geographic confirmed that these pioneering humans making their way from the Horn of Africa were the first to set foot on the Indian subcontinent, the land destined to become the cradle of civilizations. Research led by Quentin Atkinson reveals that between 45,000 and 20,000 years ago, Southern Asia, including the Indian subcontinent, was the home of about half the human population on Earth. Here, in the sacred land of Sapta Sindhu, the land of 7 rivers, humanity found refuge and prospered. Archaeogenetic research traces migration patterns, ancestral origins, and genetic relationships over thousands of years. Genetic haplogroups reveal ancient ancestry through maternal or paternal lines. Around 50,000 years ago, haplogroup F arose, giving rise to 6 ancestral lineages, G, H, I, J, K, and L. P branched out from K, and around 30,000 years ago, P split into Q and R. By 22,000 years ago, 2 key genetic subgroups, R1A and R1B, emerged from R, with compelling scientific evidence pointing to their origin in India. Even today, R1 genes dominate Eurasia. Nearly 39% of Indian men carry this genetic heritage. But this is not just a story of genes, it is also a story of languages. From Sanskrit to Tamil, from Avesta to Greek, countless languages of Eurasia trace their distant roots to India.
Have you ever wondered why you can binge watch Netflix for 6 hours straight, but you can't focus on your work for 10?
Studies of Tibetan lake sediments reveal that between 15,000 and 14,100 BCE, the southwest monsoon intensified for the first time in India, heralding the end of the last major ice age. It was here, in this fertile cradle, that agriculture is believed to have first sprouted. Indeed, these times brought not only the dawn of farming, but also the first rays of knowledge about astronomy. On the banks of the Saraswati River, the sages of Bharat looked to the heavens. They tracked the movements of stars, recorded the rains, and forged humanity's first rainfall calendar. Around 14,400 BCE, Maharshi Brahma observed the summer solstice, Dakshinayana, in the Tanishta Nakshatra, within the Brahmarash constellation. Based on this observation, humanity's first Vedic calendar was born. Astronomy software simulations confirm that the summer solstice in Tanishta Nakshatra occurred around 14,400 BCE, following Brahma, Manu, Uttanpad, Dhruv, and then, during King Prithuzira, Prithudakipehuwa, India, saw the beginning of the agricultural tradition of ploughing with oxen. At that time, the Saraswati River, originating near Keshav Prayag, close to Badrinath at the Paksha Prasravana, split into two grand channels before Prithudak, the first, Suprabhat, joined the Y1 channel of the Yamuna River, which also originated in the Himalaya and then flowed through Prithudak, Hisar, and Pushkar, reaching as far as Kutch. The second, Sueli, merged with the Sutlej, flowing via the Gaggar channel through Jaisalmer, also reaching Kutch. Pioneering research by Dr. Bimal Ghosh and Amalkar has mapped these lost paleo channels of the Saraswati. Research by a team from IIT Kanpur reveals that by 13,000 BC, some observation of precession, when the summer solstice shifted from Dhanishta to Shravan Nakshatra. Soon after, sage Vasishtha revolutionized timekeeping, declaring that the new year should begin not with the solstice but with an equinox. Thus the Vedic Yuga calendar evolved, transitioning from a monsoon-based summer reckoning to one anchored in the autumnal equinox. The Rig Veda preserves these celestial memories, as its verses speak of Ashwini Nakshatra as the equinoctial marker. By 13,322 BCE, the Vedic Yuga calendar was formally introduced, with 5-year Yuga, 20-year Chandra Yuga, and 1,000-year Mahayuga. Around this time, sage Dirghadeva crowned Bharat, son of Dushyant and Shakuntala, giving India its enduring name, Bharatvarsh. From Vedic King Som, a contemporary of sage Brihaspati, emerged the 5 lineages of Puru, Anu, Drugyu, Yadu, and Durvashu. Bharat's lineage was also descended from Puru, and from Bharat arose the Kuru and Panchalu. After King Prithu, the conflict between the Devas and Danavas caused a territorial division. The great battle between Indra of the Devas and Vritra of the Danavas set. Consequently, the defeated Danav, sons of Danu, Daitya, sons of Diti, and the Arya, sons of Ira, crossed the Sindhu River and settled in the foothills of the Hindu Kush Mountains, joined by the Shaka. Around 13,000 BCE, due to climatic changes,
I work better under pressure. If you keep telling yourself this, but still end up crashing and stressed, then listen closely. The truth.
did they move towards the Caucasus Mountains, while Dan migrated to Syria, Jordan, Anatolia, Greece, and North Africa. Remains of ancient bread dating to 12,400 BCE found in Jordan indicate that agriculture outside India was first initiated by the Danav in this part of West Asia, and probably in Iran and Anatolia as well. Archaeogenetic studies of skeletal remains revealed that the R1B1 gene was found in an individual known as Villabruna I, who lived in Italy around 12,000 BCE. Arguably, R1A, R1B, and J haplogroups carried by migrants from India seeded populations across Eurasia. with the Danav carrying these genetic markers from India to Europe. In the Greek tradition, Danav survived as the Danaans, the progenitors of early Greek civilization. Plato's description of Atlantis lying beyond the Pillars of Hercules, better known now as the Strait of Gibraltar, is intriguing. Recent research points to Sparkle Island near Gibraltar, submerged around 10,100 BCE, as a possible location for the lost city and civilization. After the Danav migration, the conflict between the Devas and the Asuras reached its peak. At that time, the zodiac was divided into 28 nakshatra in the Vedic Yuga calendar. Since the winter solstice used to occur at Mrigashira around 11,300 BC, Mrigashira was listed as the first nakshatra. An astronomical analysis of the description of the Daksh Yagna indicates that it can be dated to around 11,217 BCE, when King Daksh conducted a great fire ceremony in Konkhal, Haridwar. This was the era when the Vedas were compiled in Vedic Sanskrit, and the Asur Veda was composed in the Asur language. According to Tamil sources, during this period, sage Agastya not only composed verses of the Rigveda, but also laid the foundation of ancient Tamil grammar. The Asur Veda, later compiled as the Avesta, tells us that Vayavasvat Yam became king in the Asur territories. Ahura Mazda and the first Zarathustra, also known as Zoroaster, lived during this era. The Sapt Sindhu, including the Saraswati region, was sacred to both Devas and Asuras. After the Devasur war, the worshippers of the so-called Asur Veda migrated towards Persia and the southern Caucasus. Genetic evidence confirms that the populations of India and Iran diverged from each other about 12,000 years ago. The Avesta describes 16 sacred sites stretching from the Saraswati River to the Caucasus. One of these sites was called Ariana Baija, located in modern-day Azerbaijan, and this became the center of Asur culture. During this time, Sarma Devshuni, a messenger of Indra, warned the Asurpani in a cave by Vras River, today's Aras River, that runs through the southern Caucasus. The name Zak mentioned in the Avesta is a transformed form Takshak, who took over Persia after Jamshid. As Takshak was a descendant of Kashyap, the Caspian Sea was named Kashyap Sagar after him. The Avesta also blames Takshak for the onset of brutal cold lasting over 10 months of the year. This corresponds to the Younger Dryas, the Minor Ice Age from roughly 10,700 BCE to 9,700 BCE. Varshakam Supa, the Rigveda mentions 12 years of drought that resulted from the Mini Ice Age, reducing monsoon rainfall.
5 days and 5 tasks, and your LinkedIn profile will be perfectly optimized for lead generation, inbound job offers.
Ashram horses described in the Vedas were actually the Shivalik horses with 34 ribs, Equus sivalensis, not the 36-ribbed Central Asian horse. Archaeological evidence shows that the Shivalik horse became extinct immediately after the Younger Dryas. Thus it can be deduced from this scientific fact that the Veda and Asur Veda were compiled before 9,700 BCE. Tectonic activity caused the Yamuna's Y1 channel to divert its course away from the Saraswati. Without tributaries, the Saprabha channel of the Vedic Saraswati gradually weakened and eventually disappeared into the sands near Ushna, close to Rocky Valley. With the drying up of this channel of the Saraswati, large-scale migrations began from the region. During this time, King Videh Madhav and Gautam Rahulgarh migrated to the banks of the Gandaki River and established the Videh Janpad. The Saraswati Satrayagya, a Vedic fire ceremony, was initiated in memory of the lost Saraswati, first mentioned in the Rigved's Nadi Samkhya Sukta. In the Mahabharata, the Suprabha Saraswati is called the Mother of the Vedas, as the Vedic mantras were composed on its banks. After the disappearance of Suprabha Saraswati, the Minor Ice Age arrived. When it ended and the southwest monsoon returned, the remaining Saraswati waters combined with the Shadvati and flowed westward through the Kakkar channel. Its course became winding, called Nunzimati, and it continued to flow until the Mahabharata era. This explains why the Mahabharata mentions both the flow and disappearance of the Saraswati River. During the Yampa drives, inhabitants of the Sumeru Mountains in Hindu Kush migrated towards the Persian Gulf, which was then fertile land suitable for agriculture, as the sea level had not yet risen to fill the Gulf inlet. This migrating community later laid the foundation for the Sumerian civilization. Archaeogenetic evidence shows that the Sumerian genome originated from India. At Gilgamesh's time, the Minor Ice Age was ending. A sudden rise in sea level flooded the Persian Gulf, known as the Flood of Gilgamesh. During this period, the Hindu Kush region was ruled by the Ard Kingdom, whose rulers descended from Druhu. Sumerian tablets mention the king of Ard as a contemporary of Gilgamesh and Enmerkar. In Persia, around 9000 BCE, King Faridan, heir to the Jamshid dynasty, rose to power. He defeated the Dakshak lineage, descendants of the mighty Naga clan, and re-established pure rule across Persia. From his lineage sprang new nations. Ashur founded Assyria. Aram gave his name to Armenia. Iraj ruled Iran. Turan established Turan. It was also during this period that Scythians and Turanian began to mix and interbreed, giving rise to the ancestors of today's Turk peoples. By 7500 BCE, the second Zarathustra compiled the Avesta, shaping the spiritual foundations of early Zoroastrianism. Greek sources describe how around 7400 BCE, Dionysus launched vast conquests, extending Greek influence from Bulgaria to Persia and Afghanistan. As Greek power expanded, communities from the Sumeru highlands of the Hindu Kush migrated westward and settled along the Black Sea. European traditions remember them as the Sumerians. By 7100 BCE, Scythian tribes from Shakastan and Gandhar migrated into Eastern Europe, displacing the Sumerians. These displaced peoples later evolved into the Gauls, the ancient ancestors of parts of Western Europe. According to the Frankish Table of Nations, the Scythian king Alanus fathered 3 sons and 13 grandsons, who went on to establish 13 kingdoms across Western Europe. Old Norse legends recount that Odin, revered as a god-king, journeyed from the northern Caucasus through the central Eurasian steppe, before settling in Scandinavia. This would explain subtle linguistic links between the Uralic languages and those of the northern Caucasus, preserved like whispers from a forgotten past. Irish traditions speak of their ancestors migrating from the eastern coast of the Caspian Sea, sailing via the Black Sea and the Mediterranean to Ireland. Scottish folklore tells of the union between a Scythian prince and an Egyptian princess, the origin of the Scottish clans. Between 7000 and 6000 BCE, waves of Scythian migrations swept out of Afghanistan, reshaping the genetic and cultural landscape of Eurasia. At that time in Margarish, the Ikshvaku dynasty ruled. According to the Vedic calendar, from 13,322 BCE to 7,322 BCE, 6 Mahayuga, or 6,000 years, had passed. In 7,322 BCE, the 7th Mahayuga began, named after Avaswat, the progenitor of the present human era. Around this time, the sacred 28 nakshatras were redefined, with Abhijit being removed to establish the standard 27 lunar mansion system we have today, beginning with Ashwini Nakshatra.
जय गौ माता, जय गौ। आप देख रहे हैं गोकुल धाम गौ सेवा माती झज्जर हरियाणा में, ये हमारा आईसीयू वार्ड।
Then, an extraordinary cosmic event unfolded. On 22nd February, 6778 BCE, as the 28th Krityuga ended, the genius astronomer Mayasur observed a rare planetary alignment. On Chaitra Shukla Pratipta, the day when the sun stood at the very first degree of Aries, with all the planets in the moon within a 26-degree conjunction. Based on this rare celestial marvel, Mayasur composed the timeless Surya Siddhanta, the foundation of Vedic astronomy. Modern software simulations confirm that this alignment occurred only once in the past 20,000 years, providing an irrefutable and unrepeatable anchoring point for establishing the correct chronology of the whole Vedic era. Before 6000 BCE, Sri Lanka was still attached to the Indian mainland, but during the meltwater pulse one sea, rising seas gradually transformed it into an island. It was in this shifting world that the epic events of Irana and Rekholded, between 5677 BCE and 5577 BCE during the last century of Treta Yuga. Valmiki Ramayana records that in the 14th year of exile, Lakshman witnessed a comet in its original nakshatra. Astronomical calculations reveal that this was Halley's comet, observed in 5635 BCE to be precise, a breathtaking benchmark for the accurate dating of this epic. Between the Ramayana and the Mahabharata stretched the Dwapara Yuga, spanning roughly 2,400 years. Based on archaeoastronomy and textual evidence, the Mahabharata log cannot be dated accurately to 3162 BCE. The Raghuvanshan Purana recounts that long before the Ramayana, the mighty King Raghu of Ayodhya embarked on Digvijay, a campaign of conquest leading in all directions, crossing the Indus. He defeated the Balik and Scythian tribes along the banks of the Oxus River. But after the death of the last Ikshvaku Lula, King Agnivar, around 4700 BCE, these Balik Scythian confederations seized their chance, capturing northwest India, extending their dominion into Gujarat and Haryana. These rulers developed a distinctive Logo-syllabic script, which we now recognize as the Indus script. Contrary to modern assumptions, the so-called Indus Valley civilization was not an isolated culture. It was part of this Balik Scythian dominion and woven deeply into Bharatvarsh's historical continuum. By the Mahabharata period, King Shantanu had reclaimed vast territories, founding the Hastinapur kingdom. Later, during Yudhishthir's Rajsui Vedic fire ceremony in 3188 BCE, Arjuna undertook a military campaign that led to victories over Gandhara, Mahalik, Madra, and northern Kuru. But following the Mahabharata war, catastrophic shifts began. As mentioned, the Saraswati River dried up, and what's more, severe natural disasters devastated many ancient settlements. Today, there are silent ruins across northwest India bear witness to these upheavals. The Puranas preserve an unbroken chronology from the Mahabharata era to the time of Vikramaditya. Yet modern historians have distorted this timeline through three critical errors. One, confusing the Shak calendar with the Shant era, erased 661 years from history. Two, incorrectly portraying Buddha and Mahavir as contemporaries when inscriptions show Buddha attained Nirvana 700 years earlier. Three,
Hello friends, मैं द्रुपति शाह ट्रिपल एम की ओर से काफी बार हम सुनते आते हैं कि मेरा घोड़ा टेस्ट
assuming Jesus' birth as 1 CE without evidence distorting global chronology. Accordingly, this date invalidates nearly all traditional timelines as it is not compatible with the dating of key historical events in the world. Correcting these mistakes restores India's traditional chronology, spanning 5,200 years from the Mahabharata era to the present. In recent centuries, adherence to the biblical chronology misled us to believe that civilization began only around 3000 BCE and no earlier. But traditional sources and emerging multidisciplinary evidence tell a different story. Medical adept Sushruta said, Ekam Shastra Madhyanam na Vidya Shastra Nishchaya. A definite conclusion cannot be made by studying one academic discipline alone. Therefore, archaeology alone cannot decide about the chronology of civilizations. The multidisciplinary study presented in this book, Chronology and Origins of Indo-European Civilizations, weaving together traditional, literary, archaeogenetic, archaeoastronomical, linguistic, archaeological evidence demonstrates that human civilization is over 16,000 years old, and its cradle was India. The early Indian civilization referred to in Rig Veda as Sapratma Sanskriti, Vishwabhara. Indian culture is one of the earliest cultures to have spread globally. In Sanatan tradition, Itadesh Prasutasya Sakashatra Janmana Swam Swam Chaitram Shiksheran Prativyam Sarvamanva. This land of India shall be the earliest teacher for all the people in the world, to show them what humanity is, what divinity is, how to find meaning of life. This has been scientifically validated in this book. Therefore, it may not be an exaggeration to say, Vasudev Kutumbakam Vasudev Bharat Kutumbakam. The world is one family. Bharat was the cradle of world civilizations.